I shouldn't.
Do it.
And welcome to the swamp. The swamp is an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
And that beautiful Emperor Palpatine impression wasn't me. I know, so hard to believe because I open these episodes with such brilliant impressions every week.
Yeah.
But we have our resident Star Wars guest, Henry, on this week.
Hey.
Thank you, as always, for being on our third installment of the Star Wars prequels that we have been covering. Some of you requested that we do this for Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss Month, and honestly, we were about to. Mm-hmm. But all three of us are together in person for the first time in months, and we thought that it would be a fun opportunity to do the third Star Wars. So for November, we're doing it Fuck It Month. We're just doing whatever the fuck we want. So we're starting off with third Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. It feels long overdue, honestly.
Honestly, this is like Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss Part 2. Like, we're, continued for this week especially, because this movie has so much girl bossery from Anakin. So much gaslighting also from Anakin, and a lot of gatekeeping.
From everybody.
From everybody,
yeah.
I think everybody gets a chance to gatekeep in this movie. I really like that.
It really goes around.
Yeah.
So the horrible theme we made you all endure for like the entire month of September, we're reprising it for this week.
You thought you made it out? No.
Yeah. I'm so honored to kick off Fuck It November, though.
Fuck It November.
It only felt right.
Yeah.
So I always kind of get to take a backseat in these episodes because this is maybe like the second or third time I've literally seen this movie in my life. And the two of you, I think, quoted the whole thing verbatim through the entire watching of it. Mm-hmm. So I love every time I'm like, why did he do that? The two of you spring into like a Wikipedia depth level of knowledge as to like every character's background and motivations.
Well, so the thing that there's kind of, Star Wars has, really been screwed, but also helped by all the expanded universe stuff that exists out there. Mm-hmm. There is like so much other story surrounding this movie that you would be right to say that this part of the movie doesn't make any sense. But other people, including Disney, have gone back and like tried to fix the stuff that doesn't make sense in this series, even though they were trying to explain something that didn't make sense in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's...
I just know at one point you were talking about, like, 3 hours of this movie that got cut, then got put into a video game, and, like, they're just all sorts of, like, if you happened to consume every piece of, like, supplemental media, you would really get everything, which, luckily for me, between the two of you, you basically have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I get the secondhand... knowledge of watching this movie with two people. I think the two of you are definitely my two favorite people to watch Star Wars content with, because I never have to like go without knowing. I never have to Google anything. I just have to be like, who's that? It's like,
We'll have a name.
Yeah, stat.
Agent Kolar.
Yeah, we got you covered.
So Revenge of the Sith, episode 3. I think, Henry, you could probably do like a lightning fast recap, right?
Okay, yeah. I think the very first word of the title crawl really sums it up. It's just war with an exclamation point. That's what this movie's about. But basically, we start young Anakin and Obi, best friends, but Anakin has a scar on his eye now, so he's a little moody this movie.
His hair a little longer, a little shaggier.
He knocked up a senator, and then he has to go do a bunch of war stuff, and then he comes back and reaps the consequences of pregnancy. And that's kind of the whole film.
That's the whole movie.
Basically, yeah.
Is to pull out.
Well, yeah, George Lucas is sending a very clear message.
Pull out in situations of war.
Yes.
And pull out in situations of pussy.
But I mean, so there's other stuff that happens. The whole movie is basically the lead big boss homie Emperor Palpatine becoming emperor, tricking a young impressionable boy into being his number one kill robot, and a pregnant woman. No, she's not dead. She's not pregnant when she dies. So a woman dies.
And also gives birth.
And a robot suffers trauma. And that sums it up, I think.
There are several robots that suffer trauma in this film. To which one are you referring?
R2.
R2.
He deserved so much better.
Like, and the fact that they say specifically, like, yeah, the one that's talking all the time, his memory gets erased, but that little dude who goes beep boop, he can keep all of his memories and just be trapped. Because no one's gonna understand what he's saying anyway.
Yeah, no. R2-D2 is definitely having suicidal thoughts,
For
like,
real.
post this movie.
My God.
There's no character I think I relate to more, because he just kind of does that little high-pitched scream all the time.
Okay. I take great issue. We're gonna talk about each individual part of the movie, I'm sure. R2-D2 gets way too much to do in that opening act. I gotta say,
The little chase scene.
they're constantly telling R2 to do shit.
Oh my god.
He's like a key part of the mission. He sprays oil on a bunch of battle droids and like burns them to death. You know, like he has like a lightning zapper thing.
Yeah.
You think this is beyond his capabilities?
I just think
He's like a Swiss Army knife.
There's a
he
lot-
can do anything.
exactly, but I think that's it is to sell toys. Like there's a lot of this movie that is very obviously selling toys. You know,
True enough.
Giving people specific names. And we'll touch on a bunch of this, but giving people specific names, being specific about funny things that just so happen to also be really visually cool.
Can you just say General Grievous? Is that what you're talking about? Because if you didn't have a toy of General Grievous with his 8 fucking spider arms, that shit was cool as hell.
Yeah.
If they're designing a movie in order to sell dope toys, I'm not mad about it, because then you get to buy dope toys.
Well, that's what kind of makes there's a lot of criticisms of Star Wars in general. This movie is good. If you are just looking to enjoy an action movie, if you're trying to engage your brain, and I think I've said this about the other 2 Star Wars movies we've watched, you got to be able to turn off your brain and just enjoy the consumerist bullshit.
100%.
It is a good movie within those boundaries.
Yeah. I mentioned this while we watched it. This is very much a comfort movie for me.
I think that means you have mental illness.
This isn't news. But yeah, no, it's just one of those ones that you're sitting there and you're like, all right, I don't want to think right now. You know what I'm going to put on? Revenge of the Sith.
I think all 3 of these, in my experience, so I really hadn't watched any 3 of these movies in quite a considerable amount of time upon, choosing to do them for the podcast. And every time watching them, I'm just like, these movies are fucking wild.
Oh, yeah.
Like, packed with so much plot. There's so much shit happening. There's so many characters who have names, like you said.
Right.
Every little person in the background who is wearing a silly hat, you're like, who is the man with the silly hat? And he has a name and a backstory.
And he can double jump in Lego Star Wars.
Exactly. Yeah.
And honestly,
you can find it all on Wikipedia or whatever the hell they call it.
It's Wikipedia. Yeah. Oh yeah.
but like most of my memories of these movies are through the Lego games that were on the early PlayStation. So like I see Obi-Wan and I don't see Ewan McGregor. I see a little Lego figure of him.
Oh yeah.
Like my brain just like copy and pastes.
Yeah.
Just like I have, vision glasses on that I just see him as a little Lego guy. Running around with no knees.
Yeah, no, I feel like a lot of my attachment to this franchise is definitely because of Lego Star Wars.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Every time I watch one of these, I want to go do a fucking Lego kit. Like, that final scene where they're building the Death Star, I'm like, dude, that's Legos.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like the disassembled Death Star that's like slowly coming together. I'm like, bro, that's about to be me in 1 week when I go buy myself the Lego kit. That's about to happen in my living room.
Oh shit.
You get to play Emperor Palpatine in that scenario.
Yeah, true. You get to be the architect.
So he kind of has like a interesting turn in this movie because he's been basically our main antagonist up until this point, but this is
He's
where
on the down low.
Shit is really hitting the fan. His skin turns gray. He can shoot lightning out of his fingers now. I asked you while we were watching the movie, I'm like, how can he do that? And you're both like, oh, it's just a thing.
It's a Sith thing.
It's a Sith thing. How? Is he a human person?
Yeah, he is for sure a human dude. The way I have seen it explained is that when you're channeling the dark side, it has negative physical effects on your body because you're like corrupting something, like some sort of energy that is based on life. So you start to look all fucked up. When Emperor Palpatine turns all wrinkly, it's not from his own lightning, but it's from him actually like it just being able to use the dark side again finally after such a long time of like hiding it and all that. And I think it's also why, if you notice in that scene, you know, after Mace Windu is dead, Palpatine's voice goes through all of these crazy like voice modulations. It almost sounds like they're like moving a slider up and down. You know, it's because he's like taking his first breath of fresh air after being able to like be his true Sith self again.
Okay, but that does not answer my question. So if you decide to be a bad guy, you gain lightning powers?
Yes. The simple answer is yes.
Basically.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, not no, but yeah.
Yeah, no. My favorite thing about his look in that, and one parallel that I draw, and especially with it sort of being like, okay, he's been like concealing himself for a long time, my head went to like, you remember in SpongeBob where there's that one episode where Mr. Krabs like molts?
Yeah.
Preach it.
So he's shedding that exterior that he's created for himself. And then he also looks like a molted crab afterwards.
I love that you didn't just say like, hey, you know how like snakes and crabs shed their skin? Nature, that's the thing that happens?
No, specifically SpongeBob.
Yeah, I do understand. I will say
I've only known one creature to molt.
I love that you bring up the change in his voice though, because that's the part that gets me so much. Like when Yoda shows up and at the end and he's all fucky and he's like, Master Yoda, and he's like doing this whack fucking, I'm like, does exerting your Sithness give you like vocal fry?
I guess so. I mean, that is the most evil way to talk, you know?
Like a little wicked witch.
Master Yoda.
Master Yoda.
No, I remember I wrote down capital Lush, lush. I don't know, like I don't think that word is actually like descriptive of that, but when he's talking and he's really like feeling himself, he is like he's drunk off of that. You know?
Oh yeah,
that is a lush performance by Ian.
We talked about this while we were watching it. One of the scenes where he's like telling Anakin about like the dark side. And he's like,
"Oh my god,
have you heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise?" And you said it. He's like he's trying not to lick his lips. He's turned on by the dark side.
There's so much like sexual energy coming off of Ian McDermott in that scene. It's great.
This movie is horny.
Yeah.
This is a horny film.
Very horny movie.
Big time.
And the only two people who have no chemistry
are the two that are supposed to.
Are the two that are supposed to be in love. Are Hayden Christensen and
Natalie Portman.
Portman, yeah. I'm getting nothing from them. She's like, Annie, I am pregnant. And he's like, that's really great! And she's like brushing her hair, and he's just like staring at her with dead eyes.
Yeah. Can we talk about that for a minute? Because there's no birth control in this universe. There's not a condom.
So the movie starts, right? And they have to rescue Emperor Palpatine, and they do it, and then they get back home. Mm-hmm. And she's like fully on the brink of, I mean, by the end of the movie, she gives birth. So what are we saying? We're putting her out 7 months, 8 months?
Yeah.
Has he not seen her?
He's been like at war for like the better part of a year.
So
haven't seen each other.
All right, so I guess that makes sense.
Well, so I mean, not to cut you off, what I really wish they had done, and it's one of those, you go back and rewatch this movie, and you get to look at specifically who could have stopped Darth Vader from becoming Darth Vader. Mm-hmm. Padme had just cheated on Anakin. Hear me out. All right.
Okay.
Maybe he would have been pissed off that, she's going out, while he's at war or whatever, classic Jody situation. But, he comes back, he got cheated on, all of a sudden he gets to ditch this chick, I like, there's the bad ending is when he becomes Darth Vader, but the good ending, he comes back, finds out he was cheated on, and then he moves on. And then he just ends up with R2-D2 like he was supposed to this whole time.
Yeah. You think he ends up with R2-D2? I think he's supposed to end up with Obi-Wan, because the sexual tension with them throughout the entire movie is insane. Especially the fight scene.
Yeah.
They're begging to kiss. Their lips are inches away from each other.
Anakin's surrogate daddy.
Yeah, the way they're yelling at each other, it like always starts off with like a little bit of a sexual grunt. Like it's really coming from deep in the chest, and not in a fighting way, in a sexy way. And it really doesn't help that Hayden Christensen has on like sexy boy guy liner, and it's like dripping in sweat, and it's like panting the whole time.
His eyes look like cats.
Yeah, he's not helping his situation.
Obi-Wan's supposed to kill him, and he's like, "Oh, you're putting me in a really tough place, buddy."
You pointed it out that he doesn't have a drop of sweat on him either.
Yeah.
Zero effort.
It's not a lava planet.
Anakin looks like he just
drenched.
he just ran a triple marathon. What are those Ironmans? Where you bike and you swim? He just did one of those. And Obi-Wan just got back from the spa. This is what this looks like. He's like a little Dewey at best.
The duality of man, really.
Right. I will say this is one of the best fight scenes in all of Star Wars, and maybe in all of film. It's so good. You mentioned how they those two actors were so coordinated and had practiced it so many times that they had to actually slow down the film.
And it's already so fast when you watch it.
Insane that they were going faster than that, because I know for fight scenes a lot in post they speed it up a little bit to make it look more impressive. It's fucking wild to me that the two of them had all those moves down so good. I guess it's because you also have to know the choreography so well if you're also going to give emotion and deliver lines.
You have to have chemistry there, in my opinion. And that's why it's so hot. And that's why I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, they definitely fuck.
For real. Well, and they had to put that right next to the geriatric ass fight scene between.
Right.
Like, that fight should have been so fucking cool between Mace Windu and Palpatine. Like, it.
Oh, I thought
Mason Palpatine?
I thought you were going to say Yoda and Palpatine.
No, Yoda.
Because that fight scene also kind of slaps.
No, Yoda and Palpatine's cool. And, that is, that scene, they're in the same scene together. But right before that scene is the Mace Windu one. And it's just, two, 50-year-old dudes who are just, not really trying to swing a stick around, if you just look at the choreography in that scene compared to the Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor one, it's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
They're moving like 50-year-olds,
Hey, that spin that he starts off with, though?
My God.
That fucking corkscrew?
Dope.
Best scream in all of Star Wars. Fucking Wilhelm scream. I want that Palpy scream.
And all of his facial, what did you say that actor's name is?
Ian McDermott?
Ian McDermott fucking serves face in these scenes because he's fully fighting, and they probably use a body double for most of it, for all the, the really physical stuff. But he is, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed serving face in these fight scenes. He's, doing a little smirk, and now he's surprised. Yes. Now he's scared.
Yes. Feels like he's doing an acting class.
Yeah, right now he lets out a little snarl, then a yelp. Bring it back. No, give it to them.
Yeah, you could have done this whole fight scene just as a close-up of his face, You didn't need to show anything else.
But also the way he completely takes out 3 Jedis, it is nothing. Like a hot knife through butter. He just slashes them. Zero effort put in. And then Mace Windu has to do the rest of the fucking heavy lifting.
Those are supposed to be, the top dudes,
Yeah.
too. Those are all members of the Jedi Council, You can't do shit.
They're not bringing amateurs to this battle. You need your heavy hitters. Yeah. And in under 30 seconds, 3 of them are dead.
Yeah. But, you're telling me at that age, Emperor Palpatine still has good knees? You're telling me that man can get into a deep squat?
Okay, if he...
Sith knees.
Sith knees. You want to talk about someone's knees, though? Talk about Yoda's knees.
Oh my God, the
that
way
man's
he
doing
flips,
little flips.
The way he flips in that. I thought originally.
Hey, Simone Biles could never.
For real? Hey.
But you said geriatric fight scene, and immediately I was like, Yoda and Palpatine? That fight scene fucking slaps, because it's just Yoda doing triple backflips with a fucking lightsaber.
There is the best flip in this movie, as good as Yoda's are. The single front flip that Count Dooku does, so slept on.
Beginning of the movie, to enter the room.
Yes. Count Dooku, the first thing he does, he doesn't say shit. He just walks up with 2 super battle droids and then just front flips it down a staircase. It's incredible.
What a queen.
Oh, no, for real.
That's a way to, enter a room. If you're on a first date, you walk up into that Chili's, Do a front flip.
You get yourself up on a balcony, you know?
Climb up onto the bar, be like, hey, sorry, can we clear the area? I gotta make this my moment.
You gotta be 65 and do a front flip.
In a cape.
But like Christopher Lee, that is not something. I don't think he has ever been able to do a front flip.
I would argue you on that. In his younger days, he was a fucking like Navy SEAL or some shit like that.
You know
I bet you he could do a front flip.
Didn't he have like an insane amount of acting credits too?
He's been in more movies than anybody ever, I think.
Yeah.
He's in everything. Even like little side roles and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's just in a stupid amount of movies. Also, there's some crazy story about how the guy who wrote the James Bond books was his like brother-in-law and based the character of James Bond after Christopher Lee.
That sounds right.
That's awesome.
I'd believe that.
Well, yeah, there's that famous like Peter Jackson interview where he's talking about how when he was shooting Lord of the Rings, Christopher Lee was like saying like, no, you shouldn't direct the actors to scream like that after they get stabbed. That's not what they sound like at all.
Yeah.
So, I know, like, this is what people sound like when they get stabbed.
Trust me, I would know.
Yeah, that dude's a killer.
I think he also like knew J.R.R. Tolkien in some, or like he had
Probably.
met him or something. Like crazy, crazy stories related to every film he's in.
Yeah.
Like just an insane amount of fun facts.
He was just such a badass.
R.I.P. God bless.
Yeah.
Is he dead?
Yeah, I think it was like last year or something like that.
That's so sad.
No.
Um,
Hold on.
Yeesh.
It's crazy that they only let hot people in space, huh? There's not one ugly motherfucker, except for maybe Palpatine, but that's just because he's got an ugly attitude.
So, all right. To circle back around, all right, opening scene. They say a couple of things by name, and this is like another example of like the Star Wars just being a toy commercial. The Buzz Droids thing.
Yeah.
Very, I have very specific memories of having a Buzz Droids, like, Lego Star Wars kit as a kid.
Oh.
So, like, just selling shit. Attaching names to the droids, I think, is the clearest example.
Are you mad? Because, like, you sound mad.
Yeah. Now you got me thinking, like, General Grievous's, like, little droid guys.
The Magna Guards have names. I don't know. I'm too cynical to enjoy Star Wars now, but I love Star Wars.
General Grievous is literally a bionicle. Like,
For real.
the way his arms fold up into his own body in such a precise and beautiful way.
Yeah, he's,
how can you not design a toy about it?
well, yeah, he's modular in the same way a toy is. Like they are the exact same.
That fight scene, there's so many fucking good fight scenes in this movie, because that one, when he whips out 4 lightsabers and he sucks ass and loses 3 of them in like a minute, and then he's like, plan B, spider mode, and he turns into a spider, and then plan C, Beyblade mode, he gets inside a fucking Beyblade and starts spinning around.
Man, I like General Grievous. To me, I go back and forth on, because people have tried to justify his existence in general, saying like, he's trying to show you what Darth Vader is going to be or whatever. There's that whole, a lot of people have said things like the main villains from Star Wars movies are, they're like representative of Anakin's journey to becoming Darth Vader. So like Darth Maul is like his rage and anger. Count Dooku is like his tactical something or other. I don't know. But then General Grievous is his robotic form.
This feels like it's reaching. People are just trying to give a lot more meaning to Star Wars than, like, is really necessary.
Yeah, and realistically,
warranted.
That's like a Facebook infographic, Like,
yeah. Someone's uncle made this.
Yeah.
I am mad about it, though. I really do like the General Grievous character here. Especially at first, I was like, dude, why does he have bad posture? He's a fucking robot. And the 2 of you were like, shut the fuck up, Dara. You don't know jack shit about Star Wars. And it turns out he has human body parts in him, which is fucking cool. But also, why are they not protected a little bit better? And riddle me that. Obi-Wan sticks his thumbs in there and pries it open like a can of Chef Boyardee, cracks open his center cavity.
He's just
it
got
just reveals his fucking lungs and heart and nervous system.
He's got like a bag of jelly in there. That's what it looks like. He's got like a bag of jelly with a heart in it.
You can't tell me that you built a whole ass robot using a few body parts of a man and you couldn't protect them a little bit better.
Yeah.
Shameful.
Just put him in a little box.
You
know
could
what I
give
mean?
him spider legs, but you couldn't add in like a reinforced a safe. Got to put in a code or something to get in
something.
there.
Like, that feels intentional at that point.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You're asking to get your ass whooped.
It's like an open concept torso design.
It's really modern.
Yeah.
It's really clean, very minimalist.
Yeah, no. I will say with that whole infographic thing, they might have a point because that man does have, like, it's the breathing sort of thing, which very much, like, sort of, I think, alludes to the Darth Vader thing. He's wheezy greasy.
For real.
Which interestingly, I was like, why is he coughing? He's a robot. And you're like, no, he has real lungs. And I was like, huh, interesting. And you mentioned that there's like something in some video game or like prequel series where they explain that like his thing got crushed. I don't know. Talk about that because I think that's cool.
I may have brought this up on my other 2 episodes. And I think it's just because it's my favorite piece of Star Wars media. But the dude who made Samurai Jack, or at least the guy behind the art direction, made this series called The Clone Wars. I think it came out in like 2004.
There was a movie, right?
So
The Clone Wars animated movie, but it was related to the TV show, right?
something that was intended to be a series ended up being released as a movie because
Okay.
it was supposed to be like individual 15-minute skits on Cartoon Network. But most of the way you can consume it now is just in a box set or like one single CD.
Okay.
So they play out as hour-and-a-half long movies of individual like 15 to 20-minute skits.
Okay, it makes sense.
And in one of them, they show a good deal of Grievous before his lung injury. He kills like 10 Jedi.
As like a human person.
No, as a robot. So General Grievous is a robot for the entire length of the Clone Wars.
Okay.
Yeah. But he is a much cooler robot before. So
He's got good posture.
yeah, Emperor Palpatine, or not yet. Chancellor.
Palpatine.
Yeah, I guess. Wait, it doesn't have another name before it?
He's a first name.
Sheev. I don't know. Fuck it.
Yeah.
He's on General Grievous's ship because the closing scene of that Clone Wars series from 04 is Grievous kidnapping Palpatine to bring on his ship, and Mace Windu crushes his chest just as Grievous is getting on his ship with Palpatine.
Which is cool. So that's why he's wheezy.
Right.
See, it's
that
so
injury is like brand new when he gets it.
I'm so impressed with how seamless they always make. I mean, it's not seamless because you have to be consuming all the, the fringe media to really get these sort of insights. But I always think about the way that like Rogue One leads right into episode 1.
Beautiful.
So yeah, like so satisfying and good. And all those little things, like that explains why Palpatine was on Grievous's ship and all of that. And you really just get such a deep inside picture, whereas they could be making all these side series that are kind of just showy and not actually getting into the true. I mean, there are whole fucking books about Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. They're great books.
Books and books and books. So I think it's cool that they're actually paying attention to connecting the puzzle pieces together to create a full story rather than just being like, guys fighting.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't know.
It just sucks and it's really tough because, like, there's a lot of things that, like, Disney, like, won't pick up or, like, won't put in their bang, so it's technically not canon and all that shit. And there's so, like, piles and piles of media like that just don't, like, connect almost, you know what I mean? But it's there, you just have to actually look for it, which is a little bit of a pain in the ass. But, like, Star Wars gets a lot better when you actually, like, decide to like dive deep into it, I suppose, which sucks because like you shouldn't have to, but like you kind of do.
It's one of those things that the setting is so interesting that you just want to tell stories in that setting. You bring up a great point about all the legend stuff that got non-canonized or whatever.
Yeah, they just blew it off.
Yeah, great example of that is Darth Revan, who is a character. I'm sure, Dara, you've probably never even heard of Darth Revan. And he's got, like...
Dara, you're a fucking idiot who doesn't know Jack.
And Dara, you're fucking stupid as fuck.
You don't even know who Darth Revan is.
You're dumb as fucking hell.
Who's Darth Revan, Henry?
The coolest motherfucker alive,
Enlighten
obviously.
me.
Well,
So he's another Sith, right?
yeah.
Because they're all Darth something.
But, I mean... I don't even want to bring him. I shouldn't even talk about him because there's too much to talk about. But he's one of the
We're gonna go down a little wormhole.
He's one of the most popular characters in Star Wars media that doesn't have a quote official canon appearance. And he's got hours of content about him, like hundreds of hours of media and books to consume about him that aren't technically part of the Star Wars canon that Disney will probably touch at some point.
Yeah, I think Disney acquiring Star Wars is certainly a blessing and a curse because Disney as an entity is just overall a little bit questionable, and I don't know, I think a lot of Star Wars fans hold a lot of things very near and dear to them that Disney will never, service.
Yeah.
But we also get really good shit like all the miniseries that are coming out.
Yeah, exactly. And now they have the money to actually
produce content very regularly. Yeah, I'm pumped about the new Obi-Wan series. I'm sure you guys
so
are
excited.
too.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor reprising this amazing role. Ugh. Y'all know how we feel about Ewan McGregor on this podcast.
Yeah, no. They're also making an Ahsoka series, which it just came out that Hayden Christensen is going to be reprising his role as, fully as Anakin Skywalker, not even as, Darth Vader, which he's doing in the Obi-Wan series is he's playing Darth Vader, but he's going back and being Anakin, which is going to be really interesting and just fun to see.
I hope this comeback really serves him well because
he deserves it.
He got so much shit for this movie, and honestly, I think it goes to show that anybody who was upset about his performance, and this film especially, I believe it was the third one, where everyone was like, he's a shit actor, this movie was garbage, his character is shit, Hayden Christensen, you're canceled. And then he basically didn't really act super seriously again for quite a while.
Yeah.
He was in a couple movies and side stuff, but I think it just shows that those people didn't understand the difference between bad acting and bad writing.
Yeah.
Because
bad directing too, it's
I think he was fucking fine in this. I thought he was good.
Yeah. He gave good
he was serving face, he was serving body.
He's certainly serving body. No, but his delivery for what he was given was good. He had really good, I don't want to say really good, but decent line delivery, enough that it's okay, it's fine. But it's just trash what he has to say.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
I try to ride a line between I love Star Wars, but I think the movies are pretty bad. As someone who's critical of movies, they're not good. But I don't. Why do they make me so happy though?
Yeah.
Why are they so good despite not being good?
Yeah. Having a relationship with Star Wars is tough.
Yeah, it's weird.
Well, I think this podcast is certainly a champion for something doesn't have to be good for you to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's a big staple here, and some of the worst movies are some of my favorites. But I was so impressed with a lot of the graphics in this movie. The fight scene with the lava got a little shaky, I'm not gonna lie. Some of those renderings of lava while they're floating on those blue robot things, I was like, you're really showing your 2005-isms here. But there were some moments where I'm like, if this movie fully came out, maybe not today, but maybe 5 or 10 years ago, if this came out in 2015,
it'd hold up.
I would be like, yeah, this looks fucking good. I was very impressed considering this movie came out in 2005.
Yeah, there's definitely as far as visual effects are concerned, the green screens are not as bad as they were in the previous movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Episode 2 green screens are very, very obvious, and they are part of every scene, so it's impossible to ignore.
Yeah.
But the clones too. Any scene where the clones have their helmets off and it's not just one up close shot of Tamara Morrison, it's bad. They look like they have robot face. It's hard to explain why they look so bad, but they smoothed out people, digitally smooth faces.
Yeah, they just face tuned the shit out of everyone.
Yeah, it feels like they have physical people standing where the clones are, and then they just with 2005 technology copy and pasted.
Yeah, well, wasn't it a whole thing too? No one was actually wearing a full clone suit.
Yeah, they only made helmets and boots or something.
Yeah, something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Which, I mean,
you just hate to see them cutting costs. Jesus.
It's such a huge franchise.
Exactly. And you can't make actual suits for these people.
Right. And it would have, at some points, it would have sold it so much more. And you probably would have, I think part of that is because they didn't really intend on showing a lot of Jedi clone interaction.
Yeah.
Which I wish they had done. I wish they had I think the lack of clone personification, I don't know if that's the word to use, but they don't really give the clones a lot of time in the limelight. And I think that's to their detriment because in other Star Wars media, clones are especially in the Clone Wars series, clones are given a lot of personality, and like they're really likable, and like the Jedi genuinely love the clones, or at least some of them do.
Yeah.
Genuinely love the clones that serve under them. And then on a dime, they flip and kill them.
Yeah.
But I think the cooler portrayal of the clones is just as like cold, robotic, what they are, genetically engineered killing machines that just do whatever one person tells them. They do all this stuff in the animated show about how they have an inhibitor chip installed in their brain at birth that Palpatine actually flicks on when he orders 66 when he 66 is the Jedi. And I think it kind of that inclusion into the canon has sort of weakened the clones in a way, because it's like it wasn't their choice to kill all the Jedi. It should have been like from the jump. The clones know their job is to eventually kill the Jedi one day. I think that's a much more interesting portrayal. But I think they had to pull the wool over the eyes of the audience too. So if they revealed that the clones were evil right away, it's not as surprising when they start trying to kill Obi-Wan.
Yeah, no. Speaking of flipping on a dime, Anakin literally takes him maybe 15 minutes to come to terms with the fact he's like
Hitler.
Yeah, exactly. Palpatine literally, he knights him pretty much. He's like, all right, you're Darth Vader. Go kill everyone in the Jedi Temple. And he's just like, okay.
It's like all kids, by the way. He's like, oh, sure.
It is. I love, though, how in the first scene, it takes Emperor Palpatine a good 2-minute speech to convince Anakin to kill Count Dooku. He's like, do it.
Yeah.
That whole scene. And then by the end, all he has to do is like, pop off, sis. And Anakin's like, yes, and just kills a bunch of kids with zero remorse.
He says some shit like, you know what's going on. You already know what's happening.
Oh my god, the scene where he was Master Skywalker, what are we going to do? I have to laugh.
Get fucked. Get fucked. Baby Jedi. But I think it's a pretty good representation of how people in real life will use a small, trivial fact as a blanket excuse for behavior. Like, he's basically saying, I'm doing all of this to save Padme and my baby.
Yeah.
But, like, you're killing hundreds of people in the process. So it's not as simple as that,
Right.
People will... I think that's a really great, political... or like how people go into huge fits of rage and can use one thing as an excuse where it's actually a lot bigger than that. I think this movie is... I think it's pretty interesting because the new Dune just came out, and as we watch it, it's a very similar as like a politically charged space opera. There's a lot in common, I think, with this is also like a lot of layers of politics and human emotion, and also robots on space.
Yeah. Can't forget about those.
Just like a very specific kind of media that I think takes a certain type of person to enjoy.
Yeah, no. Speaking of like space opera, I love that they included that scene.
An opera.
There's actually an opera in this movie. Is when like Anakin and Palpatine are having like this very deep like talk about like the dark side and everything like that. And there's an opera going on. You looked at us and you were like, "What are they supposed? Is this supposed to be a sport they're watching?"
It was like a glowing blue orb with like little sperm shaped things kind of dashing in and out of it.
It's like glowy snakes jumping from water ball to water ball.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
I'm sorry, glowing orb and sperms was not close enough to snakes and water balls.
Tell them they look like sperms, though.
They were a little slithery. I don't know. Anyways.
They were orange.
They were pink. Anyways. But I was like, what? Because there was no music. There was no John Williams opera moment happening.
No, there was like deep like Baroque.
Yeah. There was like noise music with like strings and people like
exactly.
A little bit of that.
They actually had you do the soundtrack.
I didn't want to name drop anybody,
But I was like, what sport is this? I'm like, what sort of fucked alien sport is happening right now? Opera.
No, that's what lacrosse looks like in like 4 years.
Do we want to talk about Padme for a minute? Because I know we touched on it a little bit earlier, but Padme in this movie's whack as fuck.
She's
The fits lacking.
Women on the asteroid.
As the look queen of the prequels, she left me desiring more.
She was outdone this movie by Emperor Palpatine.
Oh my god.
That's a hill I will die on.
Right? His puffy sleeves.
Gladly.
Outstanding. Yeah, no. The only time she served a good outfit was when she was dead.
Yeah, right. Those flowers in her hair.
even then, weak. All
Yeah,
like
right.
step it
her.
up, girl.
Considering what we've seen her pull out before, pregnancy is no excuse. Have you seen Beyonce's pregnancy photos and outfits that she has rocked?
Outstanding.
Padme, you have no excuse not to accentuate that bump, to create some sort of glass dome of like interwoven something or other.
Incorporate a laser, do something.
My issue with Padme in this movie is that she had such potential, especially after the last movie kind of thing. And she's just in her flop era in this movie. It's hard to see. It's hard to watch. Part of it for me is that pregnancy is a horrifying thing.
She's calm as fuck though. Anakin, so imagine you tell the, person who impregnated you, hey, I'm pregnant, and he stutters, chokes, and then 20 minutes later says, hey, I've been having visions and you're gonna die during childbirth. She takes it like a champ. She's like, ha ha ha, Annie, you're so funny.
Yeah.
Those are silly dreams. I'm gonna be fine. And every time he brings it up, she's like, it's literally gonna be fine. If I was pregnant and I even thought about that, I would lose my shit. The thought of being pregnant is terrifying.
Yep.
Padme is taking it like a fucking champ here.
It is kind of weird. Like, Anakin and Padme don't really get a lot of interaction in a movie where the entire reason he becomes Darth Vader is because of his relationship with Padme.
Natalie Portman feels like she's hardly in this movie. And I said this while we were watching it. If she showed up, she had maybe like 7 minutes of dialogue or something stupid like that. She cried, screamed, died.
Got choked the fuck out.
Yep.
And
that
then
was
gave birth.
That was it. She was there for maybe a week of filming, Natalie Portman, and then she just went back to Harvard. I'm like, this is light work. And then she made like $10 million.
I can see that a lot of the criticisms leveled against episode 2 is that Anakin and Padme's dialogue is shit. So maybe they just made the decision to
We just won't put any in.
Yeah, just fuck it. We just won't put it in there.
Yeah.
Do you think it's just because those two actors, like, the writing is bad, but, like, B, they also didn't really have any chemistry? Because literally, it's so unbelievable to me. Every time they're on screen together, I'm like, can you at least pretend to like each other?
It seemed like, because, like, if you watch, like, the behind-the-scenes stuff, because there's not so much behind-the-scenes stuff for episode 3, but there's certainly, like, a handful of it for episode 2. It seems like they had, like, enough chemistry for it to, I mean, like, you would hope for it to translate on screen, and then it just didn't. I really think it was just a writing issue.
That's some bad fucking writing.
Like, it has to be that bad, yeah.
If you give those two actors the right script and the right director, their performance is going to be much better. They definitely stand out on their own. They've both been in movies where they do a much better job portraying a very different character with a very different dynamic. This movie is just not. They were set up for failure. I think they look embarrassing because they were given embarrassing things to do.
Also, George Lucas fully put proficient in PowerPoint on his resume and felt the need to defend that stance wholeheartedly. He's like, nobody will question that I lied on my resume about PowerPoint.
It
because
feels like
it was a little bit distracting in the first ones, I will say. This one, every single cut in between scenes was a different motion of, like, now we're gonna swirl down the middle. Now it's gonna be 18 different hexagons that break off into different directions.
They just went off down the list of, like, all the most basic PowerPoint transitions.
What the fuck was going on here on this day?
I think that's one of those things that's like a leftover relic of the original trilogy that they just kind of kept in to justify that decision being made in the first place. You know?
Even those were like left swipe or right swipe.
True.
These are like 42 cubes are gonna rotate 6 times to piece together the next scene. Like, so, and you think, like, what if they did this in other movies? Schindler's List.
A wipe.
A wipe, or like the little swirl down the middle, or something. Like, I just cannot.
and they happen quickly and in the context of a multi-million-dollar movie. Like, everything else around it, like, the VFX in this movie is impressive, you know? Like, everything else around it looks good, and then, you know...
There's that.
They just take a shit on the train.
I just had to bring it up. It just, I could not. It's the one thing that really took me out of it.
Oh, 100%.
That's valid.
Yeah. One of my favorite thoughts about this movie is, I was sitting there, I was like, everything, all of this conflict could have been avoided if Anakin went to 2 therapy sessions.
If Anakin posted once on the Am I the Asshole thread on Reddit and said, I've been bullying my senator girlfriend who is now pregnant, but we gotta keep it a secret. And also, I'm about to abandon my mentor and all of my friends. Am I the asshole? And everyone would have torn him to bits, and then he would have known his place.
I just killed a temple full of children to save my fiance. Am I the asshole?
Yeah. They could have avoided an entire genocide.
But I guess part of the thing is that it was like, that was always going to happen to Anakin one way or another. So, like, whatever the reason may be, it was going to go about in the way it did.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it did feel pretty forced. You know what I mean?
Hey, nice.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that there's no birth control. Can't he just, like, use the Force to pull the sperm out after?
Scramble that little thing out.
I'm sorry, yeah, he nutted inside her and then just let that shit sit.
Use his Force scramble on
and
her
then
uterus.
acted confused and a little upset when she said she was pregnant. Dude, Force pull that shit back out.
Yeah, right.
Put up a little wall of...
Right? There's that one line that Padme had. She was like, maybe we should tell Obi-Wan. Maybe he can help us. And I'm like, yeah, he can make you a fucking appointment at Planned Parenthood.
Maybe Obi-Wan can be the adult in the room for fucking once.
I love, though, at the very last scene. So basically they keep this pregnancy a secret for, well, a quote-unquote, secret for...
Yeah.
That it's Anakin's baby, basically, for the entirety of the movie. And then at the end, when Padme finally is like, I gotta go to Obi-Wan because some shit is about to hit the fan, he basically shows up, was like, sucks that your baby daddy is a domestic terrorist, huh? And then fucking dibs. Is like, huge bummer that you let some Hitler fasci guy knock you up.
Jeez.
Peace.
Who could have seen this one coming, am I right? Deuces.
Oh my god, he doesn't give a fuck.
Deuces,
either.
I'm off to kill your husband.
Yeah. Because she's like, it couldn't be Anakin. And he's like, I felt the same way, but we gotta get the fuck out of here. That baby also, that's gonna be the fucked situation.
He said, bestie, I hate to tell you this.
You're not gonna like what I'm about to say.
But some of you are gonna be really mad at me, but it must be said.
The guy liner has come out, and we all know what this means.
I think, like,
there's no turning back now.
I think a lot of the Jedi looking stupid has, initially, I think it's because this movie just is not, I don't want to say the movie's bad, but, like, a lot of the decisions the Jedi make have post-mortem been assigned to the fact that, like, the Jedi are, like, they're an incompetent organization. They hold on to a lot of like old-fashioned values. They're emotionally repressed. They don't actually they never face that. They show those criticisms, but the way they show it just kind of feels like the movie is bad. Like, Obi-Wan will be emotionless while talking to Padme about Anakin killing all those kids, and it feels, while you're watching it, that Obi-Wan is just, like, giving a bad performance, or that, like, he's being directed poorly, but it's... You could try to say that it's just that the Jedi Order is repressing his emotions or whatever bullshit. But I do think a lot of that stuff has been, post-mortem. I think this movie has become better by people explaining stuff away, I think is what I'm trying to say here.
I think, as a viewer, I find it entirely better to watch with the two of you telling me what the fuck is happening. Because if I were to go a dry with this, I think I would have not gotten a lot of the things organically that the two of you have then explained to me.
The expanded universe has made all of these movies much better. I think that's a big reason why people don't hate the sequels as much anymore. Or hate the sequels more than the prequels is because it's like so many books and video games and shows have come out that make those movies make sense, and the sequels do not have that advantage. You know, for all their flaws, they don't have the help of an expanded universe in the same way that the prequels do, I think.
Which I think they're making up a lot for the shitty sequel movies with these sort of series.
Yeah.
Like, I thought The Mandalorian was fucking great. I'm super pumped about the Boba Fett show. I think they're going back to what fans liked about Star Wars rather than trying to do something new and exciting. They're taking those nuggets of things that people really enjoyed about the original and then expanding on those, which I think is totally the better direction to go.
Yeah, for sure.
But so, do we want to get into our regularly scheduled bits?
Yeah, what should we get into first?
Well, fuck, marry, kill's so hard because, like I said, they don't let ugly people in space, but they do let dumb people and they do let mean people.
Should we go for our big three? We did it in the I mean, it was the same three the last time we covered this, but I feel like my opinions have changed.
Is it Obi-Wan,
Padme, and Anakin? Yes.
Okay. I can accept that as our three pro tags.
Okay. Well, Padme's pregnant. Can't get down with that. I'm gonna kill her.
Respect.
She's gonna die anyways. Whatever. It's fine. Anakin got a lot hotter in this one. That hair, the guy liner, the sweaty shine to his face that he has constantly.
The evil bags under his eyes.
Yep, I'm gonna fuck. Of course, it's the obvious answer. And then, who can question the choice to marry Obi-Wan?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so I agree. We kill Padme.
Yeah.
I have to argue, though.
Can you fix him? Can you fix him?
You don't try to fix him. You marry him and rule the galaxy together with him. Obviously. That's the whole fucking point of being with Darth. You get to you get to overthrow Palpatine and rule the galaxy with the hot ass bionic mans, and then
Fair enough.
and Obi-Wan's a great lay.
You never get to fuck, though.
That doesn't matter. The power.
Is he like Darth Vader though?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he's fully like.
Well, you're
that,
marrying
No,
him.
the events.
You're marrying him. Yeah, it is.
The events of the movie transpire in the same way. You know, you just get to you get to do a couple things in there.
Emily, I couldn't agree with you more.
You don't want his bionic dick, or no? You do want.
I do.
You do want his bionic dick. Sorry.
Knee.
But I couldn't agree with you more, Emily. I think that Padme's most interesting personality trait in this movie is her hair, which still sucks in comparison to her hair from movies 1 and 2. So, like, if your wife's most interesting trait is that she, like, is pregnant, sits on a couch, and brushes her hair, fuck that. So we're killing Padme.
Yeah.
Obviously, I like him a little unhinged. So I'm gonna fuck Anakin. But I want him to be sweaty. I want to be in a volcano.
Yeah.
I want to be role-playing as Obi-Wan.
You're on that table that they were fighting on.
Yes.
Kind of thing. Yes,
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're smashing up the control panels.
I'm wearing a prosthetic beard to really get into character.
To get him in the mood,
Yeah,
really.
parts of the installation are falling down into the lava.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
We both are holding lightsabers to each other's throats. It's really charged.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do
and then
that, the mutual force push thing, together.
Like, someone might die, but, like, that's really hot.
I'm, like, quivering a little bit thinking about it. But and then also the obvious answer is to marry Obi-Wan.
you
because
settle down.
who else? Who else? We know from context that he is a good lad.
I have greater ambitions than the two of you. You know, that's
obviously.
That's where we differ.
Should we open this up to the full movie?
Yes, because I'm going to fuck General Grievous and his spider arms. I just think a man...
He can do a lot there.
Right?
He can rotate his wrists 360. That's all I'm saying.
It just something about when he jumps into spider mode. I don't know. And then I'm going to marry probably still Obi-Wan. We love a good egg. And I'm gonna kill, I don't know. Who am I gonna kill? Who do I hate? Who do I hate in this movie? I guess we'll just kill Emperor Palpatine. Fuck him.
I would fuck Padme and impregnate her, and then go on a...
Dude, she's already pregnant in this movie.
No, I would go on a year-long military campaign, and then I would kill Count Dooku, and I would marry Emperor Palpatine.
You're leaving Padme in the dust. You impregnated her, but then you...
I'm just following my journey.
Okay.
I would, I feel like we talked about this, last time we covered it, but I will be fucking Kiadi Mundi.
Because he knows how to lay
choice.
pipe, yeah. That big-ass forehead.
For real.
I think I'm gonna marry Yoda.
The way he does those backflips, though, I don't know.
I would love to settle down in a nice bog with him. Just hang out in the swamp.
And wait for Luke to show up.
For real. Like 20 years just
Exactly.
chilling. Yeah, it's great.
Exactly. The swamp is the natural habitat of this podcast, obviously.
This is true.
Lest we forget.
And then I'm still gonna kill Padme, because it's just... goddamn shame where she ended up.
I love that scene where she's trying to hide behind the big pillar as they're all walking past, and she has, like, huge donut buns in her hair.
Yeah, she thinks she has gold and black in her outfit.
Right? Like, she's, like, trying to hide, and I'm like, girl, your hair's a national monument. Like, you're not being discreet.
This is one of the wonders of the world, girl. Behind a pillar?
And then, so, as far as food and drink... where would we go as far as thematically with this? Because I only have one contribution, basically.
I have a drink. Don't know what to tell you what to eat.
Yeah, so...
I think this movie is a little spicy. It's a little horny. It's dark side shit comes into play. The first thing that came to my mind is you make it's a jalapeno margarita.
Ooh.
A little bit of spice. It's a margarita. It's nice. I don't know.
It's a lot better than my suggestion, which is
Lay it on me.
A very iconic quote is when Obi-Wan says, like, only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Ooh.
Absolute vodka. You just do straight vodka shots. Got absolute brand.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
I think that you have to, because it's like the end of another series, you got to go back and you got to hit all the marks, you know?
Okay.
So you got to have a pear from episode 2. You got to have like a weird CGI pear.
So we're making a spread here.
Yeah, it's like a charcuterie board. You have some blue milk.
Some sand.
Yeah, a little sand. You know, I think it's for this movie, it's kind of like the
blood of children.
Absolutely. Yeah, you need to kill a couple of religious kids, specifically. A couple of, like, abducted religious fundamentalist kids. You start there, and then the board will build itself.
Actually, though, I don't think we ever see anyone eat in this movie.
No.
Because we have, usually that's our starting point, but I don't think we see anyone consume anything.
No.
I don't know if there's any food at all. Like, not even, like, we don't see food come to mouth, and we don't see a meal being served.
I'd say one thing that comes to mind, just visually.
Breast milk.
Yeah. Okay, I think Dara hits on a really...
One thing that comes to mind, though, and I know Henry suggested charcuterie board. This is kind of in the same vein. I know we say it every week. It's not a charcuterie board, but you do fondue.
Yeah.
To me, the
lava.
the visual of lava really gives me that feel. I say you do fondue. You can get, I mean, maybe some pears, some apples, bread, like
chocolate,
the whole
cheese.
bit. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, do a little fondue action, a little spicy margarita. I don't know that it's going to mix well, but...
That sounds pretty damn good
But this
to me.
movie should leave you feeling a little uneasy, so you might as well make it a part of your reality.
Yeah.
Nauseous, but not gonna... Like, definitely not gonna puke, but definitely nauseous. You know? like you're telling all the people around you, hey, I'm not gonna puke right now. Hey, I'm not gonna puke.
Yeah.
But, like, you could.
Yeah. No, you do have Tums on the charcuterie board.
Yeah,
Like, on the spread with everything else. Yeah.
And then as far as what to watch next, it cannot be another Star Wars movie.
No.
Especially because I think if you're going to watch all 3 sequels in a row, this is kind of the end of your experience. But if you're watching this movie dry, like just as is, what is the next step? And so I think that this movie has a great score. I think you could also just follow it up with any really iconic John Williams moment. E.T.,
Yep.
Catch Me If You Can, Raiders of the Lost Ark, any sort of when you're like Harry Potter, the first Harry Potter, anytime John Williams makes you nut in your pants, like this movie was making me nut with the score. Any John Williams like making you nut moment, I think could be a next good step. I really think I said this in the last time we covered it, but like Hayden Christensen just looks like Topher Grace to me, like exactly. And so sometimes I forget, and I'm like, Topher Grace? And so it just makes me want to watch the third Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, where it's like unhinged Topher Grace being Eddie Brock. I really feel like I said this last time, but it just gives me that vibe. Whenever I see Hayden Christensen as Anakin, I'm like, Eddie Brock in Sam Raimi's third installment of Spider-Man? And so those are my two suggestions, I guess. They're pretty weak, but
I guess, I mean, going off of my food suggestion, so like I said, the visual of the lava kind of sticks with me. One thing that pops into my head, that you're also floating down a river of something that is not water. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I say you watch the Johnny Depp Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This movie is pretty wacky, and that I think that you have to sway to the other side of the spectrum, but still like in that wacky sort of realm. I think you go for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's also like still very in that fantastical vein kind of thing. So something like that, yeah.
For me, I think I agree with you, Derek. I think you need a palate cleanser. You know, you got to have like you can't do another Star Wars property.
Nope.
To me, pick any Adam Sandler movie and just watch that. The one, what's the one where he plays himself and he's like his female twin?
Dick and Jane.
I
don't know if that's Jack and Jill.
Yeah. Would be a great addition. The only Adam Sandler movie I think I've really seen is like
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems, but also the one where when he dreams things, or like when his kids dream stuff.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Watch that one, because a fun fact about me in this movie, this is the first movie I remember seeing in a movie theater.
Interesting.
And
wow, you were pretty young. 05? You were like 4 years old,
yeah,
and you saw this movie in the theater.
It's
pretty violent.
My dad is a true Star Wars. Anybody can watch Star Wars.
There's fighting.
Yeah, but it's like there's no blood though.
Yeah, that is true. Because when robots get killed,
well, they just get fire shooting out of their eyes.
Yeah.
And even when he kills they don't even really show him killing children. You know. They just like imply it a bunch.
Yeah.
I'll say
Adam Sandler though.
I'll say my last minute addition. I don't know the name of this film, but there's that movie where Natalie Portman is pregnant and lives in a Walmart.
Oh yeah.
It's like she's pregnant and she secretly lives in a Walmart. I've never seen it and I don't know the name of it, but pregnant Natalie Portman doing something is a connection.
Actually doing something this time.
Yeah. So I don't know. Take with that what you will.
Yeah.
And then 1 to 10. I'll give this movie a 7.5.
Like I said, this is my comfort movie. 9. I'll give it a 9.
Give it a 10 out of 10.
There you go.
I only watch perfect movies.
Hank is only on this podcast for perfect movies, and there have only been 3.
So far, they just happen to be the 3 prequels. That's all.
So thank you for joining us for our first installment of Fuck It November, where we just do whatever the fuck we want, because we've been really forcing these themes lately. And tune in next week where we also watch something that we want to talk about. So make sure to follow us on social media. All of our handles and links are in the description below. Please send us requests. We keep track of them all. Send us DMs. What movies do you like? We love to read them. We love to respond to you. Our TikTok, go watch them. Go, comment on them. We love the algorithm, but only if you love it first. Or something like that. Our website, you can check it out. We have merch, too. We're working on merch, getting more merch, things.
We're always working on merch.
We're always trying to work on more merch, but that's why we keep this podcast ad-free, because we've had some questionable sponsors come and ask us, and I refuse to do an ad read for something I think is stupid. So I'd rather just sell y'all tote bags than try to push you to buy razors. So what's a good Star Wars quote we can end them on?
You put me on the spot.
Sorry. How does liberty fall with applause or something like that?
Yeah, so this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. Thanks, Natalie.